talk about false spirit guides, because I had somebody ask me that question and I was like, oh, that's a really great topic. And this kind of goes in lines with entities or negative spirits, or, you know, the ghosties and the ghoulies and all that, because sometimes that can make you a little bit nervous about astral travel, etheric journeys, connecting to different realms and dimensions and what have you, because of the programming that we have received in society or culture, religion, about magic not being real, or the stuff being evil, witchcraft, you know, all the things. What I was explaining to her is whatever you feel is real in your reality will be real, and you will experience it. That is the beauty of being a creator, source energy. Even the more negative sides of it, you're still seeing an actualization of your energy in your outer circumstances, right? This person was experiencing these spirits that were telling her very negative things about herself. And what I was explaining is, okay, when we're placing our energy and intention on something, we are giving life and birth to it, and then we are going to experience more of it. That is how deities and gods and goddesses are birthed into the collective consciousness in the first place. And so we have to change the narrative of what this means for us, because you're placing meaning on whatever it is that you're experiencing in life. And if you shift that, you can also shift the paradigm in which you're living in. When I first started getting into channeling, because I was like, oh, all these things are going to come and get me, I simply just stopped paying attention to that. And I said, you know what? I'm sovereign, and nothing can enter my field unless I invite it in. And I stopped watching content about negative things. And I don't experience that. I used to in the past, and that is not even in my peripheral. It is not in my reality at all. And so these spirits, what I would suggest is these are shadow aspects of myself, because everything is you. The trees, the birds, the rocks, the phone that you're looking at right now, or your computer, like, they are all different perspective lenses of you. All of the deities and the gods and the goddesses, like, literally everything. So if we have the understanding that, oh, this is a shadow aspect that I have been hearing, and maybe these are, I don't want to say like unhealed pieces of self, but they are, you know, just shadow aspects that need to be looked at, of why am I hearing these things? Why am I experiencing this? Maybe I need to pour more love into myself. And when I am feeling negative thoughts or thinking negative thoughts, that is a great indicator for me to pivot back onto my aligned timeline and think things that feel really good. You are the operant power. So it doesn't matter if guides are trying to tell you something that those aren't guides anyway. Your higher self is always going to be coming from a place of love and compassion and empathy. If you hear anything else, that is shadow. It doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It's just trauma or a programming or oppression, or, you know, all these different things that we can experience. That's all that is filter lenses and distortion. So what we can say is, actually, I don't subscribe to that. Period. That's it. And say, I'm actually going to choose a better thoughts. I don't care what you're saying over there in the ethers. And what's going to eventually happen is you are going to hold a new frequency of sovereignty within yourself and stop hearing those. And I'm not saying they're going to go away forever. Like, obviously I have self-limiting beliefs that come up, and I have to make a active, conscious choice to say, I don't believe in that. That is not true for me. I am going to pick a different reality, one that feels really good. And I was explaining that, you know, it's your higher self or your spirit team when you feel very expansive and excited or inspired. And you can still feel anxious. The anxiousness is coming from, well, I don't know how I'm going to do X, Y, Z. That's fine. But if you feel anything else, fear or constriction or shrinking within yourself, that is your shadow aspects. That is trauma. That is programming. And when we have that distinction, it's a lot easier to make pivots and say, does this feel good? If not, we need to think a different thought or make a different choice. And we're always heading towards good feelings. But again, to kind of recap here, whatever you pay attention to, you're going to get more of. And I feel that this is not talked about a whole lot because I have experienced it in my past, in my spiritual awakening journey, of thinking that my intuition is leading me in like a place that I don't want to go to. Like it tricked me almost. And then you start doubting yourself and not trusting what you're hearing or perceiving. That's not your intuition. That's because we didn't know the difference. Your intuition is leading you to good places. Maybe we thought that the fear that we were subscribing to was our intuition, but no, that is the programming, the trauma, and all those distortions. This is where we have to like really program in. Intuition feels good. Fear feels yucky. So I'm going to follow the good feelings. And that is in regards to those guides that we were talking to, those false guides, right? And reframing that of, oh, that's just another part of my consciousness that could maybe use some healing. Be blessed. I'd love to hear in the comments if you found this beneficial, if it helped with your perspectives. Remember to give a follow to join the community, and wishing you a very magical day.